Hi, here is your little demo video on how to edit in RAW. So here I am in Adobe Bridge, and I have found my RAW files, and I know that they're RAW files because they say NEF at the end of the file instead of a JPEG. So all I really have to do from Adobe Bridge after I locate, where my RAW files are, is I double click on them, and it opens in the Photoshop Camera Raw window. Okay, so Photoshop has its own little window that's called Camera Raw, and it opens that photograph here. And here's what the interface looks like. At the very top, you have some tools. On the right-hand side, you have all your basic editing, right? So you have, and I'll go through it, the basic tab, the tone curve tab, details, HSL adjustments, split toning, lens correction, effects, calibration, presets, and snapshots. Okay? Make this window a little smaller so you can see it all. If I go back to my basic tab, I have all these slider bars that you can adjust. So here's your exposure, right? Contrast, highlights, shadows, right? Up those shadows so we could see everybody a little bit better. The white areas, the black areas, the texture, the clarity, the dehaze, the vibrance, and the saturation, right? These are all basic adjustments right here, okay? Underneath the tone curve, this is your histogram, right? Here are your highlights, your lights, your darks, and your shadows. You can adjust them by moving these slider bars, which actually adjusts your histogram, okay? Shadows and the dark areas, up those a little bit, right? Detail. You can sharpen the image a bit. You could reduce the noise a bit. This is not a substitute for taking a non-noisy, non-grainy picture because this isn't going to fix everything. It's pretty much going to blur your image and you'll lose some detail. That's why the noise reduction and the sharpening are on the same section, because when you reduce noise, it kind of just smooths everything out, and then you have to sharpen everything back up, okay? So there's that. Hue, saturation, luminance, that's HSL, right? Hue is the actual color. So it takes all the reds and it changes the color of all the reds. Woohoo! Right? Actually changing the color. With any of these, if you double click on the little slider, it goes back to 0. Saturation is how saturated or desaturated the reds are in the picture. Look at that's kind of cool. You bump up all the reds and everybody's red accessories are going to pop out in their picture. Luminance is actually how much light is behind the color in your image. So if I take the greens, like of the green grass, and I take the light out, it actually makes it darker, right? Same with the blue sky. If I take the light out, it actually makes it darker, right? So it's how much light is behind the color, luminance, right? Split toning is super fun. Split toning puts a shade of color in your highlights and a shade of color in your shadows. So let's say I want my highlights to look green and I want to saturate them so you can see them. I want my shadows to look purple and I'm going to saturate those so you can see them. And then I can balance between them so you can see more shadow or you can see more highlight. Pretty funny, huh? Right? And again, I'm going to double click on all of that. And it brings it back to 0 to undo it. Lens correction is, you can, if there's some vignetting, which is the dark areas around the edges because your lens does that, or if your lens is doing what we call defringing, which you're seeing like some really odd like coloration, you could fix that here. Effects, you can add grain and you can add post-crop vignette. So here's what a vignette looks like. It takes your corners and it makes them darker or lighter, actually. Oh, see how it turns red? The red is indicating anything that is totally overexposed in my picture. So you can actually take that down. Now, the reason it says post crop, if I were to add a vignette here and then after I added a vignette, I actually cropped this picture, it would add that vignette to the cropped picture, which is really cool. Okay. Calibration, you don't have to worry about this. Presets, presets are super fun. You can add a preset and I can scroll over them and see what they would do. This is pretty much like a set of adjustments already put together. Matte, vivid, high contrast, bright, neutral, color, crazy. You know, already put together for you that you can kind of add to your picture, right? Snapshots. Now, say I went into the basic adjustment and I took my exposure down and I was like, oh, I think I like that, but I'm not really sure. I could take a snapshot of this image. So down here, if I press this little new snapshot button, I can title it, we'll title it Underexposed and say okay. Now this image, the way that I have it, is saved. So now I can go back here and I can, you know, adjust anything that I want to, and I can go back to my snapshots, click on this underexposed image, and I can start from there. So it's a great way to sort of like save your image when you're working on it so that you can come back to it if you want to. You can keep working with it, and if you don't like what you do then, you can go back to the saved snapshot image, okay? Up at the top are some tools. Here's the hand tool. The hand tool just moves things around. The white balance tool, you click and it adjusts your white balance for that part of the photograph. Color sampler tool, you click and it selects that color for you, and then there's many things you can do with that color. We don't usually use it. I'm going to Control Z that one. Woo! No, just kidding. I'm going to delete it. Nope, I don't know how to get rid of that. Oh well. Target adjustment tool. You can click and you can move one way or the other. I'm like totally destroying my picture here. One way or the other and make adjustments. Here's your cropping tool. You can crop to different ratios. That's what these are. You can custom crop, constrain to image, show overlay, set to original crop if you want different sizes, right? Straightening tool. With this tool, you make a line along the horizon, let go, and it straightens your picture right to that horizon. Super fun. Transform tool. If you're ever taking a picture of a building and you notice that it's leaning one way or the other, or this way or that way, or your perspective is off, your lens often does this, you can change that here. So look at like vertical, leaning back, leaning forward. Horizontal, we're leaning one way or the other, right? You can rotate the image here. You can change the aspect ratio. That's like distorting your picture. You can scale it in or scale it out. And you can move it to the left or you can move it to the right or up and down. All right here. Okay. Spot removal tool. Click on it and it takes what's in the green and puts it in the red. You could change this from heal to clone, right? You could change the size. The feather is how fuzzy it is, and the opacity. So this is just like your clone stamp tool in Photoshop. Okay. Red eye removal tool, which is super fun. You click on the red eye and it makes it not red. The adjustment brush. This is great, you guys. If I click and drag, it will select just a part of my picture. And now whatever I do will only affect that part of my picture. Isn't that fun? That's super fun, right? So then you can actually adjust just a part of your image if you would like, okay? The filtered gradient tool, if I click and drag, it gives me from green to red, and it will adjust from the green point to the red point, whatever you're trying to do. Same with the radial filter. It will adjust it in a circle. Silly. Camera raw preferences. You don't need that. Rotate the image. Toggle full screen. Uh-oh. Toggle back to not full screen. Sorry, I was on top of that. Clear. Save image. Down here, before and afters. Super fun. Shows you many different befores and afters for your images. Okay. I want to show you something else. I'm going to cancel this, right? I'm going to cancel this because obviously I don't want that. I'm going to go back into Bridge. I'm going to select multiple images, right? And right click and say Open in Camera Raw. Now you'll notice that I have all these images right here. And now it's really nice because I can adjust this, right? And then I can click on this one and adjust this one, right? Without opening the file, doing the adjustments, saving the file, closing the file, opening the next file. Now you can edit them like this, right? And if I click on this first image and I hold down Shift and I click on this last image, I can right click and I can sync the settings. So whatever I did on the first picture that I clicked on will then be done to the rest of the pictures that I've highlighted. So it's really cool if you have a lot of the same pictures that are in the same area, the same sort of details, and you need to make the same adjustments. This is an easy way to do it. You can also check mark the adjustments that you want or you don't want to apply to all of them, and then you say okay. Okay. I can also right click on the first picture, hold down Shift, click on the last picture. Sorry. Highlight them all and save images. Now when I save these images, it's going to save all of these images. This is also called batch editing, right? And you could choose where you want to put it, in the same folder, in a different folder, what you want to name it, what file type you want it to be, right? Format, what you want to call it, right? You can even go as far as here's the quality, make sure the quality's up on all of them, the color space, the image sizing, all of that. So when you have this all set, you could say save and it'll take all those pictures that you selected and save them all as JPEGs if you want, now that they're, raw files. Raw files, you save them as JPEGs. Yeah, that is a quick, very quick raw window explanation. If I were to press done, right? Say I edited this picture and I pressed done, it's going to go back and change my actual raw file in Adobe Bridge to what I have it. Now the cool thing is, I'm going to say cancel because I don't want to do all of these. Cancel all changes, yes please. We'll do one picture so I can show you. And we'll make it drastic so that you can see. We'll make it really dark. And now if I say done, and I go back to Adobe Bridge, you see this is the picture that I just edited, and it is very dark. If I double click on it though, and it opens back up in Camera Raw, look at my adjustments are there. And all I have to do is change that adjustment to make it what it needs to be. Okay. If I say cancel, it'll just cancel everything I did in the Camera Raw window. If I say open image, it will then take that image and open it into Photoshop where you could do other adjustments and whatever else you need to do there. Okay. So this is your Camera Raw demo, and any questions, please let me know.